We're going to talk about the jet ski whale incident, but first off, to set you up, this is always so hard, Mark. You are you got a sea life podcast called Scanna. You write books about sea life. You're an activist for whales and all sorts of stuff.
You talk to kids.
You got a new book out, right? New book.
New book. One Ocean, 7 Ways to Save the Seas. Picture book for middle school kids, which I'm off to.
Nice.
I'm off to a middle school in Victoria, actually in Langford, today to talk all about One Ocean and saving sea life. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, that's great. So you're just the guy to talk to about this. So let's go back to last week. So everybody's seen the video now. It's off of Vancouver. It's right off Stanley Park, where there's the iconic Stanley Park waterfront. Yeah, by the rock, everybody's got their cameras out. And then there's this jet ski. It's going along. This whale kind of emerges in front of it. The jet ski jumps the whale, and everybody's concerned about the state of the whale. We learn a few days later that it still seems to be okay. It's moving around. The whale is not, at least visibly put out. So that's kind of where things left. But now there's a lot of questions about what happened? How did this happen? What are the investigations and punishments that could come out of this? But before we get into all that, talk about that incident that I just described and what was going on from your perspective.
What seems to have been filmed and what has come out in interviews with the unnamed dude who hit the whale is somebody was out on the water off Stanley Park doing 94 kilometers an hour. On the Sea-Doo.
How fast that thing was?
That is what the person said in the interview. So it was moving real fast. Whale pops up and guy hits whale with the Sea-Doo, goes flying. Apparently both he and the whale are okay. According to Department of Fisheries and Oceans, they've followed the whale around and whale seems to be doing just fine. Guy seems to be doing just fine. So that's what happened. A whole bunch of people saw it, and it was filmed. I think the important part of this story is, and it was filmed, which sort of puts the people who are supposed to enforce these laws in a position where they have to explain what they're going to enforce.
So what should the enforcement be in your mind? Because we're still waiting for the DFO to determine what that's going to be.
Well, this is what's really interesting, is that I reached out to the DFO about this, and everybody else is reaching out to the DFO going, what are you doing to the one guy?
Right.
Well, here's the interesting part of this story. As of the end of April, this gray whale's been hanging around this area. People have been harassing this whale. So this guy says, hey, I was out there. I'm always out there. Had no idea the whale was out there. Apparently had no idea what all the people on shore were looking at. Apparently hadn't read a newspaper or seen social media in 2 weeks. But for a moment, let's take this guy at face value and say he had no idea this was an accident. All he was doing was driving fast. Wrong place, wrong time. However, the DFO has been tracking people who have been harassing this whale for the last few weeks. None of them have been charged. They've all at best been warned away and been read the rules of whale watching. Well, that's really interesting considering first offense for harassing a whale, fines $100,000 is the max that has been set. Yep. So I keep hearing about awareness campaigns. You want to raise awareness? Force one of your laws. We just watched the DFO get a whole bunch of praise for going, oh, wow, we've changed all the rules around whales again for the southern residents. You don't enforce any of your existing laws. So it's really fascinating to me that they repeatedly get kudos from, oh, now it's now we've got this much of a protection zone. Great. It's an imaginary law. If you don't enforce it, it's an imaginary law. So, I did reach out to DFO. I got this standard boilerplate, the incident with the jet ski guys under investigation. Yeah, whatever. I want to know why not a single person has been charged with harassing a whale among the people who went out to harass the whale. So the swimmers who went close to this whale, the boats that went close to this whale, none of these people have been charged or fined or even received a slap on the wrist. That's what I asked about and got a generic response.
Why do you feel, and I'll use the term, dragging their heels? Why do you think that's happening?
That just seems to be how we enforce you know, animal rights laws around, in Canada in general, is they really aren't enforced. They exist, they're on the books, but for whatever reason, nobody goes anywhere with them. The incident that really sticks out for me, 2019, a boat whips through a pod of Southern residents or pod of orcas, I don't know if they were residents, off Stanley Park, pretty much the same area we just had this incident. This is filmed. You can see the person driving through a pod at dangerous speeds. There is no one. There's no way to live in this province and not be aware that the orcas are protected. We've got footage of this boat. To the best of my knowledge, no one's tracked down this boat. No one's been charged. Right? Like, there really does not seem to be a whole bunch of, that's why I'm really glad to be talking about this with you today, because maybe somebody will listen to this at the DFO. Hey, no, great. I would love that. That would be awesome.
We come down on poachers. We come down, you talk about the BCSPCA, the Humane Society, coming down on animal abuse when it comes to pets or domestic animals or livestock. But then we've got in the waters, for the larger mammals, it seems like a different story.
It really is. And if you look up, just go on Google and look up fines, which I did. And it's like, I found a couple of good ones for messing with Canada geese in Ontario. Somebody messed with a moose. That went really badly for them. There is very little out there. And it tends to focus on a handful of bad actor whale watching boats. And again, I was aware of one particular bad actor in Victoria who everyone was apparently aware of, because I heard about them over and over and over again. Other whale watching boats were going, can you please do something about this person who's, doing bad stuff with drones, etc. Nothing. Does not seem to be, I don't know if it's the will, because I'm sure if you work for the DFO, you care about these animals, right? Like, I can't believe you would have this job hanging out with whales and not be in love with whales. But at some level, there's a lack of will around enforcement. And I really do look at this and go, you want to raise awareness? Great. Charge somebody who intentionally went out there to mess with a whale. Find somebody who took a selfie with this gray whale and fine them the $100,000. Fine, drop it later, right? Like, drop it to $1,000 later, but let people know just how serious these laws are and that you're really not supposed to be messing with whales on our waters.
That's what our guest, our sea life guy, regular guest, Mark Leiren-Young, would like to see coming out of this incident, again, off of Vancouver with the sea-doo. I think I keep saying ski-doo. Obviously, it's a sea-doo.
Sea-doo, yeah.
Yeah, sea-doo that hit the whale off the coast of Vancouver. But yeah, like you said, this is one that got caught on camera, but there's a bunch of other incidents, and maybe this is a wake-up call that we need to start looking into these things a bit more seriously. At least that's what you'd like to see, Mark. So thanks for sharing your
That would
thoughts.
be fantastic. Thank you so much for talking about this.
And again, the new book is
One Ocean, 7 Ways to Save the Sea, available in all of the best bookstores in Victoria.
All right. We'll talk sea life soon, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you so much.